ever feel like your energy, motivation, and productivity run in cycles, but your business doesn't seem to match them? In today's episode, we're flipping the traditional business calendar on its head. My guest, Lisa Woodruff of Organize 365, shares why women don't live life in quarters. We live it in trimesters. She explains how understanding this natural rhythm can change the way you plan your goals, structure your business, and give yourself grace in the seasons that feel full. From organizing your home to organizing your time, Lisa offers a refreshing perspective that helps entrepreneurs work with their energy, not against it. Lisa Woodruff is the founder and CEO of Organize 365, whose mission is to help people take back their time at home and maintain organization systems and functional organizing so that they can spend their days doing the work they were uniquely created to do. Grab your pen and paper. She's got some great tips for you today, and I invite you to listen in to this episode with Lisa. Welcome to Main Street Success Stories. I'm your host, Jennifer Koch, entrepreneur, business coach, and founder of Next Wave Business Coaching. My first business I opened 2 days before giving birth to my second daughter, but then I grew it for 20 years. I grew it from a local bakery into a national brand and eventually sold it for a profit. I know firsthand how tough the odds can be. Only 1 out of 2 small businesses make it to year 5. That's why I'm passionate about helping entrepreneurs change those statistics through coaching, mentoring, and this podcast, where I share real stories of others, their success, their struggle, their mindset shifts, their fears, and lots of wins along the way. Because none of us are alone in this journey of entrepreneurship, and I want to make sure that you have the support you need. My goal is simple: to inspire you, motivate you, and show you there's a path to building a profitable business. So let's dive into the next episode of Main Street Success Stories. Hi, Lisa. I'm so glad to have you on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Jennifer.
I tell you what, Lisa, your business, Organize 365, where were you my whole life? Where were you 25 years ago when I first started my first business and had little ones at home?
Well, I was at home with my little ones. And that's so true with women. I think just to point that out, like a lot of us feel like if we can't get it done in our 20s and 30s, like our lives will pass us by. I'm in my 50s now. You guys just give yourself grace. In your 40s, you'll start to get traction. 50s, 60s, 70s, this is where it is. So don't worry about the timing. What you are struggling with in your 20s and 30s, you'll be able to bring to the marketplace in your 40s and 50s.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I'm in my 50s as well, so hearing that is so refreshing. So first of all, Lisa, before we dive into your wisdom on how to organize our business and lives, tell us, how did you get here? Where were you before you started your business?
Well, it's a long, winding rabbit trail, as is every woman's story. Like women are so like the spaghetti and men are waffles. You hear that? Well, our stories are all spaghetti as well. So the highlights are I loved children growing up. I babysat like it was my job, 40 hours a week. I went to college. I wanted to be a business owner. And my mother was like, you will get a college degree. So I was like, okay, well, I'll become a teacher because I love teaching and I love children. And then I'll be able to match my work to my kids if I have to work when I have kids. We were blessed through adoption with 2 kids right before I turned 30. And so my 30s were in the taking care of my kids. I had taught, so I was teaching. I was a stay-at-home mom for a while, big in direct sales for a couple of decades. And then I found myself sliding into the pit of despair by the time I turned 40 because I'd taken on so much and things aren't as easy as they seem once you get into them. And I just had too many roles, too many responsibilities, not enough money. And so at the age of 40, I quit my teaching job, came back home again. My kids were in middle school at that point, started Organize 365, had no idea how I'd make money. I just knew that there was, I had blogged before. So I started as a blog. A couple months in, realized I was an in-home professional organizer. Didn't realize that was a thing. Started organizing people's homes for about 3 years. And I was like, okay, there's something to this. The way I organize people's homes is a little bit different. It's from the lens of a teacher, like teaching the skill of organizing. And I was like, if I could figure out how to teach you how to organize your home through the internet, because most people can't afford professional organizers, that would be a business that would grow. And so that's what I did. I started the podcast 11 years ago and then started courses. And now I manufacture products that don't exist in the marketplace because there are literally no school supplies for us at home, you guys. Like we literally cobble everything together from scratch. So when you say, where were you 25 years ago? Every single woman in her 20s feels that way. Once you get the house, you're like, yes, this is it. Like I'm ready to go. Well, the house is just the dwelling. Like all the systems and processes, we have to cobble those together from scratch. It's exhausting.
I love how you're teaching. It's kind of the old, I mean, every single person I know would love to hire a home organizer to come into their
Right.
home. And a couple of my clients actually do that for a living. But that's can be a little bit of a one and done, right? It looks great for a month. But if we don't have the habits, if we don't have the
Yep.
systems, it's soon going to go back to the way they found it. So I love how you're teaching people how to get to the root. It's not
Hmm.
really just about let's just get you cleaned up for the month. It's teaching us
Exactly.
new systems. That's really cool. So what
Yeah.
was the first thing you taught? Like when you started way back, was it something about your business or was it more a personal in your home?
So the Sunday basket, which we might get into, was an ebook I had, and it was like the undercurrent. It's like the operating system that I've run my household on since I was in my early 30s with those little kids. But the thing that I would sell to people, the service, was the mommy makeover package. And that's where I would come in. I would do your home office, I would do your laundry room, I would do your kitchen, and I would do your closet. And I thought if those spaces were going, then the woman could have her head above water and she could keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit. You have a
Okay.
really robust business and it's really fun. I was poking around on your website today and just looking at all the different things you offer. And since we're a podcast talking to entrepreneurs, let's
Yep.
speak to the woman entrepreneur out there
Yep.
who is juggling her business, whether she's
Hmm.
service-based, solo entrepreneur, online, or, has a brick and mortar, juggling home, whether she has children, empty
Or
nester,
not.
or, fur babies.
Hmm.
Heck, like just before you and I hit record, I was letting my dog out for the 10th time today. So we all got a lot going
Yep.
on. And, for whatever reason, and I think it's the way we're wired, I think it's the way God designed us,
Hmm.
the woman tends to be the one who kind of organizes the home, plans the holidays, plans the special occasions. A lot of it falls on her.
Yeah.
So here she is, organizing her business, running her business, organizing her home, running her home. And, you know, we know as entrepreneurs, it's really hard to leave one at the door and go to the other. It just doesn't work that way. Mentally, we're always thinking about our businesses or we're always thinking about home. So you kind of have a system where you tell us about how do we create our weekly routine that's going to free up 5 hours during the week at home? So let's start at home. Because I always say to my clients as business owners, get help where you can. Sometimes getting help can mean hiring help for home or hiring help for your business. So what are some suggestions to help us get organized at home to free us up to focus on our business?
I have so many things to say about this. I'll just give like bullet points and you could say where you want to go deeper. Okay, I have been always an entrepreneur. Yes, I taught, but I mean entrepreneur all the way through and through. And the thing about being an entrepreneur is in your business, you have to create every single system because you're not going in a corporation, you're not going in a school where they have everything. So also in your household, it runs like an entrepreneur organization. You have to create every single system. So you're double creating systems. There is no structure anywhere. You're creating all of your own structure, which is exhausting, but also for entrepreneurs, we like it that way because we like to be in charge. So that's number one. Number two, I found that I was able to have more success in business if my household was organized. And in my direct sales company, if my direct sellers, their households were organized, then they would make profit in their company. If their household wasn't organized, they would miss the party, they would miss the order, they would miss the whatever, and they would not be profitable. So I've now come to realize actually in my business, I'm getting rid of all of my work products, and we're only going to focus on helping you organize the home going forward because you will always default to organizing your business. And there are like thousands of coaches and programs that will help you organize business. There are only a handful that will help you organize your home. And when your home is not organized, even if you're successful in business, you inside feel like a fraud because you're like, yeah, but if you knew my house is a mess, even though it looks like I'm good over here, I'm not good over here. And you're personally judging yourself based on your house. So if you can get your house organized for the phase of life you're in, you have so much more confidence, clarity, and time that you can devote to your business without being like, yeah, but I'm shortchanging my house or my family in order for my business to succeed. So you mentioned hiring help. There are two people I tell you as soon as you can hire them as an entrepreneur. Number one, a housekeeper to do the actual cleaning the floor, the toilets, all of that. And number two, a personal assistant in your business so they can help you with your email and your calendaring and putting things on your blog or anything that you can teach them administratively, just keep offloading because you are the only salesperson. You are the driver of the vision of your business. You're also the heart of your home. So if you can get these two people in your two different locations working for you on all the administration tasks, then you can be visionary in both. Now let's talk about getting 5 extra hours. Here's the thing, especially as entrepreneurs, we have lots of ideas and lots of visions, and we want to do them all right now. And we think they're going to take like 10 minutes and they take like 10 years. So, anyways, we have all that going on. You can do, be, and have everything you want, just extend your time horizon. And the best way that I did that was I write every single idea I have down on paper, specifically on index cards or little notepads, one idea per sheet of paper. And the reason why is because we have 8,000 ideas. And if you start making lists and then you want to go find your idea or your to-do, you have to read through all your other ideas and then you get sidetracked and then you get absolutely nothing done. So if you write every single thing that's an idea or something you want to do on one piece of paper, then you put that in the Sunday basket if it's household related. And right now, through the end of the year, you can still get the Friday workbox. You put that in the Friday workbox or wherever you do your work. That way you can be your normal, awesome, creative self 24/7. You have all the ideas you want. You capture them all and externalize them to the environment. And then you put them wherever that responsibility is. So when you are being your household manager, you do your weekly planning with the Sunday basket and you see all your brilliant ideas you've had all week. Half of them are trash, just recycled. And the other half, you're like, oh yeah, I really did want to send my mom that card, book that vacation, get that haircut, order that thing on Amazon. And then you don't have to constantly try to use your brain to remember those things. Same thing with business. Like I'll get a podcast idea in the middle of the night, unfortunately. So I just
Always.
write it down. Then it's there for work next time you're doing podcast recordings or, oh, I have a new way to market something that I'm selling. Write it down, even though you're sitting in car line when you get that idea. But where do you put it if you don't write it down? And I love it on paper because then you could sort them and you could put them in different places and things like that.
That's
For
so
home, yeah.
fun. And I love the
Yep.
old school approach to paper because there's a lot of studies that tell us that when we write things down, we're able to process better, we're able to remember better, we can just kind of think a little more clearly. So I'm loving that old school and I'm loving the one idea per sheet because I am classic, especially in this digital world that we live in. Everything's on my phone. So I'm walking my dog and my 101 ideas come up about a podcast guest or a business idea or one of my clients. I'm always, thinking about what they need and where do I put it? And I end up putting it in my notes or I do a voice memo. And then when I go back to it, I get so sidetracked by the other ideas. So I'm loving this one idea per index card or one idea per Post-it note or whatever it is. That's really brilliant because it's helping you compartmentalize what's going on in our brains.
Yeah. And so along with that, so when I'm out, if I don't have my note cards with me, then I'll email it to myself and I'll print the email. So then it's one idea per email. So, and I'm in the process of getting my PhD. I'm just finishing my dissertation. Yes. So much science about handwriting. Even if you write with a stylus on a tablet is not the same as handwriting with paper and pen. Also, the handwriting is a big thing. Cognitively offloading to the environment, which is what we're doing reduces the stress and the overwhelm of the mental load. We must, especially as women, write down every single thing. But then the key is you have to have a regular time to review those things.
Right. They can't just stack up and get ignored, right? No, love that. Really creative. You're the first person I've ever heard suggest that. And I've taken a lot of time management classes and I've talked to a lot of different people about, getting help at home and in the business and this one idea per piece of paper. To me, that's like, okay, mic drop. We're done. What else,
Great.
All right. So, so good. So good. All right. So let's talk about women entrepreneurs and their business. And I know your focus is a lot in the home, but you are a women entrepreneur. And so one thing that was interesting is the business world puts us into these buckets of quarters. And I do it. We're always looking at Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, 90 days. Here's our goals. Where are we headed? And you had said something once that someone shared with me, and I thought, you know what? That is so spot on. For women, we don't have quarters in our life. We have what you call trimesters.
Yes.
Take us through that, what you mean by that.
So I am a mom. So this idea came because I'm a mom and I was working on the school schedule with my children and being an entrepreneur at the same time. But even if you're not a mom, if you are an American citizen, you run on trimesters because the school runs on trimesters and that's how you planned your entire life. These quarters they're arbitrary. They're created by accountants in order to make sure you have your accounting right so that you can pay your taxes on time. That's really the only thing that is based on quarters at all in business. So the trimesters we naturally, as Americans, have this organizing, productive energy in August because we're used to getting ready to go back to school. You started school sometime in August or early September. And so naturally your body's like, Where's my new outfit? Like, what are we doing this fall? And once you get to Labor Day, you actually have the 10 most productive weeks of the entire year are from Labor Day all the way until Thanksgiving. And once I realized that, I was like, oh, well, I need to really set myself up for success for taking advantage of these productive weeks. So if you're in business, you're doing things in September, getting you ready for whatever your Black Friday special is going to be, which is going to be Thanksgiving weekend. So you have like 10 weeks where you're like marching really fast and you're getting your audience ready for that. If you're physically sending products like we are, you're getting your warehouse ready for that, getting all your marketing ready for that. And then the end of the year, the last 6 weeks, you are doing your Black Friday, your end of the year sales, and you're also spending a lot of time in the holiday merriment with your family. Thanksgiving, whatever your December holiday of choice is, which actually is another part-time job. So that's why you feel so crazy, because it's another 20 hours a week. And each of these trimesters ends with this like merriment, family-oriented, chaotic time. Then you start January. So in January, we have the 16 most productive weeks, or the 16 most organized weeks of the year. January, we have the least amount of extracurricular activities. We have the least amount of sports. We have a lot of heads down, getting the big organizational work, reorganizing your house, reorganizing your business, starting new goals, starting new things up. You can have a ton of meetings from January to April, and people will usually be there. You can have no meetings from the end of November to December and have people show up. You see what I mean? It's totally different energy. We reorganize all the physical areas in our house. We do a lot of crafting at this time. And then you have May, which you could also call Maycember, because it feels like December. If you have kids. Now, if you don't have kids, you're like, I don't know what people are talking about. But if you have kids, you know what I'm talking about. Mother's Day, end of the year, weddings, birthdays, babies being born, all that stuff. So May feels like December. That ends that trimester. And then you're going to start summer. Summer is a season that is state specific and your life specific. So if you don't have children, summer is from Memorial Day to Labor Day. But if you do have children and your kids get out the beginning of May and they go back to school at the beginning of August, your summer is the beginning of May until the beginning of August. That's what your summer feels like. If you don't have children, it's whenever the pool is open, which in Ohio is from Memorial Day until Labor Day, and then they close the pools again. In Florida, don't use that because your pools are open year round. Those are, I guess, the months where you stay inside.
Exactly. That's their winter, I always say.
Yes.
Okay, so let's break this down a little bit more because I'm really just loving this. And I'm thinking from a business owner perspective, how could we start to shift our strategy? And like you said, not follow what the accountants want us to do from a quarterly lens and plan our programs, our energy, our business around it. Because, I owned a cookie and cupcake business for 20 years while my kids were in school, while they were growing up. And I can remember September was like my January 1st. I was super excited to get back into work, head down, let's, get re-energized, let's finish strong. And I feel like if we were to look at our business and plan our goals around this, if you are a woman with a built-in of building a family at the same time, that the stress would come off of us a little bit because I feel like we're trying to run a race with other participants that aren't doing the same things we're doing. So I loved how you said September is kind of that go month, to Black Friday. We're running like crazy. And then you're right, January through May. And it's funny, I've never heard that term Maycember when my kids were little, but I'm hearing it all the time now. So my thoughts are, let's embrace this.
Yes.
Let's take away the guilt that comes with, I'm not doing enough over the summer, like maybe somebody we see on social media building their business. And let's just lean into these trimesters instead of fight them.
Yes, because your audience is probably a woman.
Right.
I mean, what do they say? Like 85% of buying decisions are made by women, and women are running on this cycle. Like no woman is running on a quarter.
Right.
So there are going to be seasons in your business where you make a lot of money, and there are seasons in your business where you make no money. And once you've been in business 2 to 3 years, you need to just run through and be like, how much do I make in January, February, March, and April? And you will notice there are some months where you don't make a lot of money. Traditionally, June, July, and August are months where most businesses don't make a lot of money. And so now you're like, I got to work, and just take the summer off. Like, know what your cash flow is and then follow your cash flow. Black Friday is a term that came up from corporate America, and it's for retailers because they run their entire business in the red until the Friday after Thanksgiving. And then all the money that comes in from the Friday after Thanksgiving until December 3rd is the actual profit in like Macy's or something like that. Hilarious. And now Black Friday is like whatever, the week before Thanksgiving. Like they're
It's all
changing
year
the date.
sometimes. Doesn't it feel like
they
it
just
with
want you to
Amazon?
buy more stuff. But the true thing, Black Friday, is when does your business go into profitability? Because all the money you earn, like if you have a 30% profit margin, no, you have a 0% profit margin until October and then 100% profit margin till the end of the year. So quarters, I mean, don't try to make yourself earn, let's say $10,000 a month every single month. If naturally you'll make 20,000 some months, nothing some months, and 10,000 some months, figure out what they are and match those energies. If you're not making the $10,000 a month, let's say that's a 0 month where you just know that your customers are not buying, stop sending the emails, stop annoying them. Really wait so that they are looking forward to your next email and you're not trying to sell to them when they don't want to be sold to. Don't try to sell everything year round when you know that this one product does well in the fall and this one product does well in the spring. If you need a summer product, make a better product for the summer. And then take advantage of those lower times. That's when there's some seasons where Organized 365 is a little bit quieter. People have bought the products and the services and they're now implementing them in their houses, so they're not buying new. That's when I would traditionally hire in new staff, train the new staff, reorganize the warehouse, develop new products that are going to come out later. And then there are seasons where all you're doing is shipping and delivering to the customer. Once you recognize those seasons in your business and you match them to the seasons of the people who are buying from you, then you could be like, okay, well, this month I'm going to work 50-hour weeks, and this month I'm going to work 30-hour weeks or whatever, and I'm going to enjoy more of my family. I'm going to enjoy this time because I know that this is not when I make the revenue, and it's okay.
And I think that approach too is a lot of mindset, not only really good business strategy on when to lean in and do all that, but it's freeing because I hear a lot of guilt sometimes with women who are raising children at home. Oh, I should be at work. Oh, I should be at home.
Right.
And when you know and go into it and with intention and knowing that this is the season, the summer is the rest season for you, there is a lot of freedom that comes in that. And one of the key reasons that people start their own business, especially women, is they want freedom and flexibility. But then we go about treating our businesses and not giving us permission to have freedom and flexibility. So good. So thank you so much, Lisa. I really enjoy I'm a type A, love a good list, love a good organization, organized closet. That sets my day. So it's really fun to just kind of hear your approach and hear how you've built a business around this, because I think that's key too, that there's a business for everyone. There's ideas out there for everyone. You took your skill set, you turned it into something really unique, and look at it. It's just scaling and just amazing what you've built. So tell us about what's next for you. You've got a book coming out?
Yeah, next year I'm writing the book, The Art of Escaping Quicksand. It really talks about how do you move from reactive to proactive? What does modern self-care actually look like for a woman? It's not a spa or a bubble bath. It's actually taking care of your physical, emotional, relational, and spiritual needs. And we don't really have a good model.
Wonderful. And in the meantime, if anybody wants to learn more about Lisa and Organized 365, you have a free routine reset for us, and I will put the link to that in the show notes. And they can also head to your website. Is there anywhere else a good place to connect with you?
I'm most active on Instagram, and my handle is Organized 365, and a podcast by the same name.
Wonderful. Well, I will make sure I put all those links in there. So once again, thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jennifer.
You know what I loved about today's conversation is it was a good reminder as women entrepreneurs, our lives move in seasons, not spreadsheets. Some seasons are for building, others are for resting or just recalibrating. But when we align our goals with those natural rhythms, we stop fighting and we get more energy. So as you look at your calendar, maybe it's time to stop asking, what do I need to get done this quarter? And start asking, what season am I in? And what does success look like right now? Before we wrap up, if you're a woman entrepreneur who's building a business and a family at the same time, I want you to know you don't have to do it alone. And you don't have to stay stuck in survival mode. I've developed the 9-pillar framework to build a profitable business, focusing on increasing your confidence, clarity, money, and peace of mind. If you're ready to take the next step, I'm going to invite you into my free webinar, The 3 Keys to a Profitable Business. The link to sign up is below. And until next time, keep supporting those local businesses. They need you more than ever. And thank you so much for listening.